All right, welcome back here. Come back here. Come prep. My old pal Luke Little at Laney High School, coach. Spring's on the horizon. Spring football's coming up. How are you guys doing down there?
Doing good. It's been a great off season. We got 9 back on offense and 8 back on defense. So it's been good to get them in the weight room. We were physically weak last year, and the better teams, really exposed it.
Right.
But our weightlifting numbers are back to where they were 2 years ago.
Well, and I knew that you, uncharacteristically, probably not the season you expected. I know you guys still had a winning season there at Laney, but not really what I know that the expectations were for you and everybody else in the program. And I know you guys have a lot of talent coming back. And not only that, the young guys coming up from your JV program the last couple of years look to be phenomenal.
Yeah, and honestly, we JV went undefeated, a good group, but we started 3 sophomores on the offensive line, a sophomore receiver, 2 sophomore D linemen, sophomore DB who was first team all conference. So we started sophomores all over the place, and really I have not done that since I've been at Laney. We usually got 120, 140 kids in between there in the program, and just didn't. We had a good number of seniors, just didn't have the talent level in that senior class that we're used to having. So it's the first time ever we had to bring young kids up.
Well, you know what they say as a coach, you play young kids 1 year, you might take a few bumps and bruises along the way, but typically it bodes well 2 or 3 years down the road.
It does. And I mean, you feed young kids, 15-year-olds. Some of them sophomores were 14, 15, and you're playing Havelock and Cape Fear and Hoggard and, New Hanover, Asher, those boys, that was some good teams we lost to. It's tough enough with 17, 18-year-olds, much less, 14, 15-year-olds.
Right. No doubt. Oh, hey, I'm going to pull up our team pages. I'm sure you're familiar with these things here at Carolina Preps.
Oh, yeah.
I was just going to kind of throw it up there. Maybe some of your fans aren't familiar with it, and there you can kind of see kind of what you're talking about, some of the bumps and bruises to some of those bigger teams that you guys had played against. And, I'm pulling up here looking, and this is going to be your, I guess it's going to be your 5th year, your 6th year at Laney. And you guys
five and a half. That COVID year was tough.
True that. True that, but you've had a good little run in turning that program around. And, I click here and look at your career and look at your time, whether up at Freedom or Whiteville or even at South Stanley, 61% winning, 136 wins as a career. That's a pretty good little career. You've kind of got a knack for turning programs around and getting them turned in the right direction.
Yeah, it's I heard Donnie Kiefer talk about it one time, and that's the same thing. Kind of the same philosophy. I like going in places that are struggling. It's always intriguing to me to go into a place that's, it looks like them from the outside, they got the talent, they got the pieces, and for whatever reason, they're just missing something. And, basically all I've brought is just blue collar hard work. It's not, I'm not the smartest football coach in the world, but just getting everybody on one page and just working for what you get.
Yeah. How much of that would you say is your upbringing, son of a really good coach? You've had a lot of coaching in your family and been around a lot of good football your whole life, and baseball. You are, a heck of a baseball player as well. But just growing up and being immersed in sports really from probably as far back as you can ever remember, how much did that help you?
A lot. I mean, and again, being the son of a coach, especially, being around it 30 years ago, 40 years ago, you learn the work that it takes. It's not X's and O's that win football games. I mean, X's and O's help, but it's just the daily grind, yearly grind really, of just putting work in and just believing that good things will happen if you try to outwork people.
Talking about X's and O's, Coach, you've been really some unique parts of the state. You've got a lot of experience in the Rocky River area, which is a tough little hot spot for some football, just a little bit east of Charlotte, thinking about programs like Monroe and Forest Hills and, that whole Albemarle corridor. And then, of course, you've been up in Freedom, and I've been to a game at Shelby where you guys went down the wire with Shelby and played some of the toughest of the tough competition there. But then you spent a great part of your career as well down there in Columbus County, Brunswick County area, Whiteville, Laney, and around a lot of the Jack Collie wing tees of the world, stuff like that. So you've seen a diverse grouping of different types of X's and O's your whole career. Have you taken a little bit of that, pieces here and there, and different coaches you've been around to kind of forge your style, or what do you take from just all that diverse background you come from?
Well, first of all, it is different. It is different in the western part than the eastern part. I think we've led the conference here in passing yards every year I've been here, and I don't feel like we throw it a lot. But compared to when I was up in playing Shelby and Crest and those guys, slinging it all over the place. But I believe in running the ball. You got to be able to run the ball. I think I got that from my dad, and I got that from being down in the eastern part of North Carolina. But I think we've done a good job over the years of we've been heavy the last 4 years on we RPO everything. There's games where we throw for. I think my oldest son's senior year, he threw for like 2,700 yards, and I think maybe 1,500 of it was RPO. It wasn't even called passes. Right. But I think the really different level of the coaching is the higher level in classification you go. Just the depth of coaching, the number of coaches, the adjustments that are made during games on Friday nights. Just the higher level you go. I get into it with my brother-in-law over at Whiteville a lot. It's hard just to line up and do one thing on a Friday night in the 4A level. The coaching is just so good. They make adjustments so quick. And I think the higher level you go, the better the coach you become on being able to adjust. I could tell a big level from Whiteville to Freedom. You start lining up going against Shelby and Crest and Watauga. Coach Hobbick's probably the best I ever been against. If you don't know the truth, he's good. But you just learn more the higher level you go with the depth of coaching on those staffs.
Do you see any relation to that with just in how the young men and the players, how they absorb the information and how they retain it and use it on the field with guys that just specialize in football and that's all they do year round? They go to camps and 7-on-7s and travel 7-on-7s, and how football has almost become a 365 process versus maybe when you played, and probably a little unknown fact that you were probably one of the greatest home run hitters and greatest hitters in high school as a baseball player when you played. And guys from our era that played a lot of different sports, baseball, track, football, basketball, whatever. Do you think that the players in this age are more receptive to complex offensive schemes and a lot of different changes at the line of scrimmage because that's all they focus on? Or do you think it matters kids are just able to pick up on anything?
I think two different things. One, in baseball, I think it hurts them playing year round. I mean, I didn't pick up a baseball bat until after Christmas. I think you can pick up bad habits playing all the time and get lazy and that type of stuff. Football wise, we got a lot of kids that, we're going to have trouble with the way they've backed the spring up this year with lacrosse and track and baseball. We got a lot of kids. We probably got 15 kids that play lacrosse. They've moved that season back 2 weeks. So, we're in a pinch trying to figure out when we can get spring ball in before exams. So we're probably going to miss a good majority of our team for spring because they're playing other sports. But yes, I get into that some. I can remember me and my brother-in-law talking about, JP, you got to throw the ball a little more, man. You got to mix it up some at the wing tee, which he really would do it. But, we got to have quarterbacks. Well, it's different. Every one of my quarterbacks are throwing probably year round. Still play other sports, but we got not flag football. I call it flag football. We got 7-on-7. They're all involved in a league down here. So I think the higher levels, the bigger places have more for the kids. I think all four of our quarterbacks returning are involved in a 7-on-7 right now, and 3 of them play another sport. So just the what they're exposed to gives them an advantage, I think. And yeah, playing year round, they learn concepts. They learn the DBs learn coverages. Receivers learn how to break off routes, how to settle in routes. Different stuff because stuff we did growing up, but we did it in the backyard. We did it with a group of friends on the weekend. But now they're doing it in organized stuff.
Yeah. And I think, having this conversation with you and hearing you talk, I think it kind of gives me this light bulb moment. And I'm going back to, kind of our days in the 1990s and even some of the football in the 80s. Why some guys like Coach Tommy Knotts at Independence, or I'll use, Coach Gussler, who was up at Burlington Cummings, or not Gussler. I'm blanking on his name. But some of those guys right there, Dave Gutshaw, who were using some of these elaborate concepts and different schemes, in an era almost similar to what we're seeing today, but in the 80s and 90s, and how they were just so many light years ahead because they were just doing things that maybe coaches that you and I would have played for that, was downhill, I formation, power, get down and run the ball, were having a hard time adapting to.
Yeah. And technology's helped that too. I mean, we wouldn't be able to expand on the stuff I do. When I started out in 2001, everybody lined up and ran power counter and under center. There wasn't many in the gun. I think we might have been the first one in Whiteville's conference in like 2006 or something or 5 that were in the shotgun. But technology, going to clinics, learning, and then just taking a chance and changing a little bit. It has helped coaching. Helped coaching a bunch.
Sure. And I know you've told me that you like getting on like the Carolina Preps team pages and like looking here and going back to, some of the old school coaches and things like that. And, we can get on here, and a lot of people may not even know that, but, you can get on here and look at the all-time coaching records and look at games that, like, say, a Bob Paroli or Jack Holly played, 398 wins way back when against, different coaches. And I love pulling up this new feature I got right here, and I know that you enjoy this stuff too, like to see how a coach did against another coach. And
yeah, that don't look good. I looked at that the other day, man. I got to get one against Underwood over there. It got me over.
I know, and
over against him.
I was just thinking about that, though. I know that you, like myself, are kind of a student of the history, and I love looking at how coaches matched up against other coaches and things like that. And like even looking at Coach Jack Colley, and, you can pull up like all the games that he did against Coach Brian Aldridge, and you can pull every single one of them up and things like that. And, I love looking at how styles versus styles went back in the day.
I do too. And just look at that Holly tree of Aldridge and his, battle, JP's daddy. I mean, that system, he ain't changed it much. He ain't changed it much, and it works, and they have done a good job with it.
Yeah, no kidding. So I've always enjoyed that. And, I know you and I both kind of have had that fascination with, looking how coaches did against other coaches in different schools and different eras and things like that. So that's always been kind of cool. Looking forward, though, I know we talked a little bit about the fact that you got a lot of talent coming back. Who are some of the guys, one that maybe are already household names in the Laney and the New Hanover community, just in that county, but also maybe who are some young up-and-comers that might be kind of breaking through and becoming well-known this year?
Well, we got both our receivers back that had good years. One was a junior, one was a sophomore. Both of them right around 500, 600 yards. Kilby Thesis Dixon and Jordan Tunn. I think both of them will have good years. Kilby was a sophomore last year, 155 pounds, and he's right at 180 now. So he's, a year in the weight room has made a big difference. Our quarterback's going to be the first time, and since I've been at Laney, that it's not going to be my son, one of my sons at quarterback. And I think we got a really good one. He's going to be a senior, Ryan Gallagher. He's been patient. He's set behind, and he's about 6'3" kid, can really throw it. I think he's going to have a good year. And people around here know. I mean, they know he can do it. It's just he just hadn't had the opportunity to show it on Friday night. And then our running back room is probably our strongest group. We got 3 of them that are really good. Both of them back from last year, and then our JV running back coming up. Those are our 3 strongest kids on the team. So we're going to build a lot around those 3 this year. Probably running a little more than we normally do. But I think the O-line and those running backs really be a strength. And then defense, we got a kid, corner's back, be a junior, KD Wallace. He was first team all conference as a sophomore. Both our middle linebackers are back. We had believe it or not, we had a freshman play middle linebacker last year. Never would have thought a freshman would be playing at the 4A level, but he was physically ready, and I'm excited to see Reed Williamson. Really excited to see the jump he makes. And then we got a all conference D tackle back in Keeson White, who's going to have another good year for us. So we're excited. We're excited with a group back that's hungry. They know, like you said earlier. We expect finish second in the conference, but we expect to compete with Hoggard every year for the conference championship. And last year wasn't very competitive. They were better than us, and we feel like with what we got coming back, the table should be set to try to get it done again.
How has your community, this is kind of a little bit shifting a little bit, but just been receptive and maybe receptive ain't the word I'm looking for, but hungry for a year in, year out football powerhouse kind of winter program. Hoggard, like you had mentioned, they've kind of sucked the air out of the county at times. New Hanover's kind of had some big years here and there. But Laney has kind of been a little up and down, and I'll just throw the graphic here, and you can kind of to see you have kind of shifted the tides, and you see that big 9 and 10 win seasons that you guys have had. And I know the COVID year was a little bit of an anomaly. And you go back in time, and Craig Pendergraft had a big year, and Gordon Walters had a couple years. But there's been a lot of inconsistency at Laney as well. How starved do you feel like your fan base has been for you guys to kind of put a consistent winner out there?
Great support here. I mean, we fill the bleachers every night. If you could have seen that crowd 2 years ago in the third round at Hoggard, there wasn't any room. And that's pretty much just every home game we have. Anybody we play, we pack it out. They're hungry. It really helped, 2 years ago or 4 years ago. I don't know. We've beat them twice in the last 4 years, but beat New Hanover for the first time in 20 years, I think. And, that kind of, you can win, you win. But if you hadn't beat Hoggard and New Hanover in 20 years, the people kind of, well, it's the same old story. We beat everybody else but them. But we've beaten them 2 out of the last 4 years. And actually that 6-5 record in between the 9 wins and the 10 wins might have been the most talented team we had. Just never got it really going. We had everybody back off that 9-win team and had some injuries. And I think we lost 4 games that year by less than 10 points. It was just one of those years couldn't get it. Went to Pinecrest in first round of playoff and we had a 2-touchdown lead against them. And then lost it. But that group was a really good group. So we feel like it's really been we had three strong years. And in this year, we knew it was going to be tough this year. With our schedule, with the youth we had, we knew Ashley was going to be really good. Coach Lombardi's done a great job over there, and they had a strong senior class. And we just knew it was going to be a rough year. And we were excited that we still finished second in the conference, still made the playoffs and still finished with a winning record. But the people are excited. They're excited. They want to get over that hump. That's nothing we hide. We don't hide that. I mean, Hoggard's been the standard though, not just for our conference, but pretty much the last 3 or 4 years, Final 4, Final 8 in the East. I mean, they do a great job over there, and mentally we just got to get over the hump. I mean, those kids grow up in the same neighborhoods our kids grow up in. There's not really a boundary there, and they're the same kids we got. They just got to mentally do it. We had them 2 years ago in the third round, I thought, and then it just fell apart at the end. But that's something as a group, we got to figure out a way to finish a game against them.
Yeah, I hope to see you guys continue to get better. Now you see some of the pictures I've got one of the last times I was at the stadium down there at Laney, and I probably need to get some updated photos. I don't know if you guys have made any additions, but I have been to a game at Laney, and you're right. That's just a tremendous environment for some high school football.
It is. I love it. We've updated a little bit. We've put a little more signage and stuff around to decorate a little bit. But yeah, no track. I mean, how many 4A stadiums don't have a track around it? I mean, and on Friday night, people are right on top of you, and they do a good job down here with student sections. I mean, they load it up. You know, not just us, but everybody we play has a good student following too.
All right, yeah, that's what I love because then again, you got old guys like us that love to be a part of the game, whether we coached for a long time and now I've shifted over into the media side to, the game has never really left us, but, it's still about the kids and the kids going to the school and the students. And, you want them to have a good time because these are, I say high school football and sports in general, it's just helped cultivating to these students today and to tomorrow's leaders and teachers and coaches and just business people. And we want them to take those memories with them as well.
I agree. There's nothing better, not just football, nothing better than high school. I mean, it's about the only thing left pure in sports. You don't know the truth. It's still blue collar, work hard. You can't just leave when things aren't going. Most places can't just leave when things aren't going your way. You got to work through your struggles. Yeah,
and that's true. And we have seen a little bit of that. Transferring and announcing on social media that you're going to a new school. You've seen some of that. And, the purist in me, I hate to see it. I understand sometimes, and sometimes parents do move and things like that out of a kid's control. And we have kind of, and you mentioned the purity aspect of the high school sports. We do have that NIL creeping in. So we have to kind of see how that changes things looking forward. And, but, I'm with you. I love just the pure nature of the competition with the high school sports, doing it not just for you and your teammates, but your community and your school and just the people behind you.
It is, and it's fun. It's really fun in Wilmington, where all four of us are pretty much the same size. Besides Ashley, if it wasn't for traffic, you get to Ashley pretty quick. But us, Harger and New Hanover, I mean, we're like I said, we share neighborhoods. I mean, our kids know each other. I mean, those are fun Friday nights. It makes a good time.
I don't think you can get anywhere traffic-wise in Wilmington that quick anymore. Traffic is like a mainstay down there, I believe.
I live 5 miles from the school, and it's a good 20, 25 minutes and that's before traffic in the morning. I try to beat the traffic. So
it's just one last thing, and I'll let you go, Coach. I know you've been busy today, and I appreciate your time. Realignment kind of shook things up. You were able to kind of sort of keep the conference together, but you also are losing South Brunswick, who's heading over to play the Columbus County Schools, which, in my opinion, is a better fit for them and maybe your conference as well.
I agree. I like our conference. I like South Brunswick in it. They don't need to be in it. They're just they don't have the size, the numbers, none of that. But it's been a fun game because of the coaches that have been over there, and I know Rocky, I know Larry Brockwell, so that's made it fun. But it is good for them to get out and be able to compete a little better. But everybody else we got Conley, Garner, Rose, and South Central non-conference, and then you throw in our conference. Anybody can beat anybody. I mean, West Brunswick beat New Hanover last year. Yeah. You would have never would have thought that, but our conference is good enough and coached well enough and got good enough players in it that if you don't come to play every night, you got a chance to get beat, and that makes it fun, but makes it tough, a little stressful too.
Yeah, I agree, but you mentioned West Brunswick, Shane Handy. Shane Handy. He's a top shelf of coaches there is in this state, and there's no question that he will most likely make West a better program with him leading it.
You're right. I mean, Topsail finished, I think, 4th or 5th in the league last year, and they played us, New Hanover, Hargard, all to a 10-point game. And that's tough to do. That's tough to do, and that just tells you the parity in the league.
Yeah, and I know Topsail, Coach Tichy went back to the college ranks, and can't blame him for that. But you look at that. You mentioned all the guys in at the schools. You know, that you mentioned Coach Lombardi, who I don't really know yet. I hope to get him on the program here soon as well. But you know, that was a tough week. You had really no weeks off, I guess, as a coach in preparation for an upcoming team, because each program seemed to be pretty well coached.
They are, and he's done a good job over there. Just getting the excitement level up and getting kids to believe. Kind of the same deal when I came to Laney. Just getting the pieces are there, just getting the kids to believe that you know you can compete.
I agree. Well, Coach, I appreciate you getting on. I always enjoy running into you. I know we've known each other a long time, and you know, but still, just to talk ball and you know, listen to you talk about some of the old guys. You know, your dad, Mark Little, you know, phenomenal coach in his own right, and I would love to get him on one day just to kind of reminisce about some of them Clarkton days and some of them Stanley County battles and stuff. I'm just so much knowledge in that area, and I'd love to kind of get his stories as well. But it's always good talking some football with you.
He would be hard to get on. He's worse with technology than me, but yeah, he played. I mean, that Rocky River back when he came through, when you had Catholic and Monroe and Forest Hills, that was that was tough. That was tough. But I appreciate you, Chris. You've helped me out a lot, probably the last 20 years or so. And yeah, this website is. I mean, I was not happy when you stopped it for a while, but I enjoy. Yeah. I get on there when I get bored, and man, I'm all up and down that thing, just looking at people and you know what happened 20 years ago. You know, it's awesome. It's awesome.
And I appreciate you. And hey, tell your dad I will just take a camera to him, and I'll set a camera up in front of him, and he and I'll just talk some ball. And if I can do it in between him mowing grass or something like that, I'll get some stories out of him.
That'll work, Chris.
Well, Coach Little, I appreciate your time, and we look forward to seeing your program this year and wish you guys the best of luck down there at Laney.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Chris.
Yes, sir.